We often think of science as this neat and tidy process where we just find answers and fill in a book. But what if the real story, the most exciting part of science, isn't about what we know, but about the things that just don't add up? What if the real frontiers are the anomalies, the glitches in the data, the signals that just shouldn't be there? These aren't failures, no way. They're like giant flashing signposts, pointing us towards entirely new physics, new biology, maybe even whole new realities. So today we're going to dive into three of the biggest puzzles out there that have scientists completely stumped. And we're kicking things off billions of light years away, right at the very edge of the known universe, where a totally bizarre signal showed up and just shattered all the rules. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about something called a fast radio burst, or FRB. Just picture this. It's like a cosmic camera flash, an incredibly powerful blast of radio waves that lasts for just a millisecond. Now, for years, the going theory was that these things came from magnetars, these super magnetic young neutron stars you only find in galaxies that are actively, churning out new stars. And this right here is the heart of the mystery. The rulebook for FRBs was pretty clear. They're born in these chaotic, violent, young galaxies. But then, a signal arrived that just threw that whole rulebook out the window. It came from the cosmic equivalent of a sleepy retirement village, an old, quiet galaxy where star formation fizzled out billions of years ago. And when I say old, I mean ancient. This galaxy is around 11 billion years old. Seriously, this thing is basically a fossil. It is the absolute last place in the universe you would expect to find something tied to young, explosive energy. And just to add another layer to this puzzle, it's not just the type of galaxy that's all wrong. It's where the signal came from within it. This thing originated 130,000 light years from the galaxy center, way out in the stellar suburbs. I mean, that is farther out than any other FRB we have ever found. So what in the world is it doing out there? Well, as you can imagine, scientists are scrambling for ideas. Could it be two ancient neutron stars that finally spiraled into each other after billions of years? Maybe a white dwarf collapsing. One of the big ideas involves these things called globular clusters, these really tight, ancient balls of stars orbiting the galaxy. But right now, they're all just educated guesses. That ghost signal is still a complete mystery. Okay, so from the edge of the universe, let's bring it way closer to home. We're heading to our sister planet, Venus, to look into a mysterious shadow that astronomers have been staring at for a whole century. Yeah, you heard that right. For about 100 years, we've seen these strange, dark patches just drifting through the upper clouds of Venus. They're not storms like we'd think of them. They're more like huge, dark stains spreading across those bright, acid clouds. And we're not talking about a little smudge here. This unknown absorber, which is what scientists literally call it, is soaking up more than half of all the sunlight hitting Venus. That is a massive amount of energy being captured by, well, something. The big question, the one that stumped everyone for decades, is what is it? Scientists have tried everything. They've suggested all sorts of sulfur chemicals, or maybe weird reactive gases, or even particles coughed up by volcanoes on Venus. But it's like, no matter what they propose, it never quite fits the picture. The way it absorbs light just doesn't perfectly match any of the usual suspects. So, after running out of purely chemical explanations, some scientists noticed that the way these patches absorb ultraviolet light, their specific light signature, looked familiar. Really familiar, in fact. It turns out to be a surprisingly close match for something we know very well right here on Earth. Microbes. Yeah, bacteria. Some types of bacteria here on Earth that live in extreme high-altitude environments have pigments that protect them from UV radiation. And those pigments, they absorb light in a way that is a shockingly good match for the shadows on Venus. Now, is it possible these shadows are giant floating colonies of alien microbes? It's a long shot, for sure, but after 100 years, it's a possibility science hasn't been able to rule out. All right, for our last mystery, we are coming right back home to Earth. And honestly, this one might be the wildest of them all. It's a mystery that seems to break the fundamental laws of physics as we understand them. So there's this experiment called Anita. It's an antenna attached to a giant balloon, and it flies super high above Antarctica. And its job was actually pretty simple. It was designed to listen for radio pulses that get created when super high-energy particles from space smash down into the ice below. The keyword here is down.
And this is what makes it so mind-blowing. Anita was looking for particles coming down from space. What it found, on at least 2 different occasions, was the exact opposite. A signal from a particle that came from inside the Earth and shot up.
Just let that sink in for a second. The data shows some kind of high-energy particle blasted its way up through thousands of miles of the Earth's solid rock and mantle. Then it burst out of the Antarctic ice and sent a signal up to Anita. This is like throwing a baseball and having it go straight through a solid steel wall. It's just not supposed to happen. And look, this isn't just some weird little blip on a screen. This event directly contradicts the standard model of particle physics. Our fundamental rulebook for how reality works. If this signal is real, it means there's something huge missing from our picture of the universe. It could point to a new particle we've never seen, or maybe something even crazier. And here's the kicker. Other huge observatories like IceCube at the South Pole have looked for similar things and have come up empty. That doesn't mean Anita was wrong. It just makes the whole thing even stranger. It's a deep, isolated mystery that could completely rewrite the textbooks. So where does this all leave us? From a ghost galaxy, to a shadow on Venus, to an impossible particle shooting out of our own planet? It leaves us with this powerful reminder that the most exciting part of science isn't what we know, it's what we don't. We've got this radio burst that's breaking all the rules, coming from an ancient galaxy where it has no business being. We've got this century-old shadow on our next-door neighbor that dodges every chemical explanation but looks an awful lot like life. And we have an impossible particle, a pulse that seems to have shot out from the heart of our world, challenging the very core of what we think is real. You see, every one of these puzzles is a crack in our map of the universe. They're a reminder that we are so far from having it all figured out. The most exciting places have always been those blink spots on the map, the ones marked, "Here be dragons." And the biggest question these mysteries ask us is, what incredible new dragons are we about to find there next?